Nebraska, they're still rolling through spring practice. Matt Rhule made it very clear, hey, we're not going to do a spring game. So lock the heck in for this one. Now, they did have a scrimmage that was just under 90 plays. Starters got 30 plays. So a couple of notes out of that, as well as the spring as a whole. But before we do that, I want to make sure y'all know the hard count is presented by Culver's. Excited to let y'all know, Andy and Ari on 3 will be coming to you live from the draft in Green Bay from Thursday, April 24th to Friday, April 25th. Going to be set up right outside the famous frozen tundra of Lambeau Field at the Culver's Great Wisconsin Tailgate. Hoping it's not too frozen for the boys out there, but born in Wisconsin, Culver's is the home of the legendary Butterburger, fresh frozen custard, and Wisconsin cheese curds. No better rep of America's Dairyland than that. So we're going to have some special guests. Make sure you're locked in. Won't want to miss it. Stay tuned for more details and get ready for a weekend of good times made fresh with our friends at Culver's. So go ahead and lock in with that, man. It's going to be a very, very good time. Excited to get the content from that. But in regards to Nebraska's spring practice and the intel out of that, you don't get a ton around Dylan Raiola in regards to buzz and what he's doing. And to me, man, no news is good news, I think, at this point. Like a guy who's going into his second year and there's not a bunch of things said about him about, these massive growth points or these massive errors or mistakes. It's just like, okay, we kind of know what he is. Business as usual. He wasn't really the question mark for you last year for Nebraska, was he? Like, yes, of course, he was growing and he had some plays that I'm sure you'd like to have back and there's some freshman mistakes, but I don't think you leave last year if you're a Nebraska fan saying, man, Dylan Raiola just really held us back last year. I think Dylan Raiola and what he was as a quarterback, especially when Dana Holgorsen took over, that was why I think Nebraska ended up being the team they were down the stretch there and winning that bowl game. So the real talking point around Dylan Raiola is what's around him from a developmental perspective. For the first time now in his college career, he has someone who can actually tailor the offense to his skill set, speak his language, and has a tremendous track record with quarterbacks to actually elevate his game. So again, that's Dana Holgorsen, but so far so good for Raiola. If you're into spring propaganda now, not talking about it on the show, but if you're into spring propaganda, one thing we talked about previously was, can we see Dylan Raiola a little bit more shake and bake to him, a little bit more mobility? And from the spring scrimmage, there's a clip of Dylan Raiola in a non-contact jersey getting a rushing touchdown. All right, so a little bit of movement, a little bit. I mean, hey, it's propaganda, but we're here for it. We appreciate it. That's Dylan Raiola from the spring scrimmage. Now, speaking of quarterbacks, former quarterback Heinrich Haarberg, nice little catch in the scrimmage, caught a nice little seam route. This is a guy they're going to involve some way, shape, or form, man. I don't know how he factors in at tight end, but there was a series last year that Caden Smith, Cato, for those of y'all that know, producer of Hard Count, we stole him from the news desk. There's a story where during the game against Northern Illinois, there's a series where Heinrich Haarberg lines up and runs a route, plays quarterback, takes a hand. Like all the dude's a do-it-all kind of player. Talking to people close to Nebraska, with how big he is, right around like that 225, 230 range, hit north of 20 miles per hour on the catapult. If you track that at practice, just essentially it tracks the output of what a player does during the course of a practice. North of 20 miles per hour at that size is pretty freaking elite. So they're going to get him the football. How it looks, I don't know, but he's going to factor in some way, shape, or form, and I'm excited to see that. Receiver room, still impressing. Even with Hardley Gilmore no longer on the roster, they're still continuing to be a area of strength for Nebraska. Two true freshmen I want to highlight, Isaiah Mosey and Cortez Mills. Sounds like they're both going to play. When you have freshmen factoring into your room, along with the guys like a Dane Key and the guys you already know about, that's a really good sign. Really good sign. So they think that they've gotten better at that position every single year under Matt Rhule. And for that to coincide with the second year under Dylan Raiola, I think that's going to make for some pretty good things. Now, the offensive line, really high on that group internally. Pritchett, the Bama transfer, has been everything they hoped so far. Rocco Spindler transferring over from Notre Dame. He's been phenomenal, so they feel good up front. Defensively, they like what they have personnel-wise. A lot of their success this year, though, is going to hinge on getting a pass rush from those edge defenders. Willis McGahee, feel old yet? He's going to factor in. And then Williams Winery, former high-profile recruit transferring over from Missouri. They want to see him elevate as well here in the spring to get where they want to go. They like the linebacker group. Secondary is a veteran group, so they feel good there. Talking to people close to Nebraska, I'm always curious to get what the vibe is, the feel is coming off of what the year was before and what they are right now during spring ball. And it was really interesting. The phrase I got was quiet confidence. In terms of how they are in this building, they quietly feel very, very confident. And this is Matt Rhule's third year in Lincoln. When I was with him at Baylor, it was kind of the same vibe. Like, similar situation, Baylor just won a bowl game, and, arrows pointing up, returning quarterback, all those things. But there wasn't a bunch of buzz around Baylor going and playing for a Big 12 title or being a team who's going to make a New Year's Six bowl. But within that building, like, being a part of what that team was doing, you could not tell me we weren't going to win some football games. And so as this thing progresses, I think for Nebraska to have that same sentiment heading into year 3 under Matt Rhule, just keep an eye on Nebraska, man. Just keep an eye on Nebraska. Year 3 Matt Rhule, a lot like death and taxes. It's one of those things that's very, very certain for you to be a success. So I'm excited to watch what they do, but Matt Rhule, year 3, go ahead and take that one to the bank.